Toys can do incredible things. They made every sound in this piece of music. But nothing compares to using them to help save a life. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. It's called hands-only CPR, and it's recommended by the American Heart Association. Visit handsonlycpr.org today. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Today's episode, Bobcat in the Cave.
Oh, nuts! There's a bobcat in this cave! Save us, Sassy! You will, but first you'd like to stress the importance of cat adoption? Over 5 million cats go into animal shelters every year and they need to be adopted? Help us, Sassy! Why bother? We'll just get into more trouble tomorrow?
Sassy is brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org. Remember, adopt.
This is GlobalNewsForum.com.
It's time now for the BeanSoupTimes radio show with your host, Toure Muhammad, heard every Wednesday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on GlobalNewsForum.com. And now, your host.
Peace. What's up? Assalamu alaikum. Hotep. Habarigani. Hujambo. Brothers and sisters, once again, it is my pleasure to be here with you. This is Toure Muhammad, and you're listening to the Bean Soup Show right here on GlobalNewsForum.com. It is 3 o'clock, and we are just jumping up and down for joy here in Chicago, in the windy city that is not too windy today. It's actually very pleasant, and of course, it's not the reason Chicago's called the Windy City, but you know we do have some strong winds. So big props to the creator and the environment and the universe and all the forces that have come together to bless us with this day. We're thankful. We know across the country it may not be the same. We know, I don't know if it's happening today, but I heard reports of snow in the past couple of days in Arizona. So you never know what's going to happen in today's climate. There is so much happening. They talk about global warming. You can look into the scriptures and you hear certain things in the scriptures or read them that talk about strange weather. So we're just going to take every day as it comes and be thankful that we have here in the Chi a good day, and we hope that wherever you're listening throughout the country or the world, you know, or the universe, I don't know, you may be tuning in from Mars or Venus or wherever. You may have the technology to hear us even though we can't hear you. So wherever you are listening from, we say assalamu alaikum. We want you to have peace. And definitely wish peace on us. Man, it is Wednesday, the day after the elections, a day after what is being reported as record low turnout in Chicago. And that is in some ways not surprising, given you didn't really feel or see or hear a real strong excitement in the streets about the elections. And if you're on my email list and you were seeing us trying to keep the information flowing and keep the idea of electoral politics out there by sending you information from actually our paid clients in the campaign, you know, there were some people that said, okay, enough. I'm not voting. You don't have to send me anymore. So it's interesting that there was such a low turnout after and with us having a black president, with President Barack Obama in office. You would think that at least for the time period that he's in office, that the excitement and the joy of voting and knowing what possibilities are in the vote, that it would not be a record turnout record low turnout, but that's what it is. That's what it was. And so, it's definitely interesting. We'll see what happens in the main election coming up. Is this a foreshadow, a pre-warning of what will happen in the main election? And if that's the case, then how does that fare for our president if he does not have the support, the activists out in the streets pushing the vote and people excited about voting? I did not get one text of being reminded to go vote. I did not get one. I didn't see even a lot of mention and on it on Facebook in that manner. Go out and vote. Go out and vote. So it is what it is. It's interesting. I would love to, give me a shout out, text me, or send me something via Twitter. My handle is at BeanSoupTimes, at BeanSoupTimes. Let us know what you think about this electoral process and what happened yesterday and why the turnout was so low. So, but we won't belabor that point too much, but definitely wanted to highlight that and post it on my Facebook wall if you want to, the Bean Soup Times Facebook wall as well, and let us know what your thoughts are. And so we're going to move right into some other things that I think need to be discussed that are absolutely critical to our very survival. There are many things that are very important. I of course am a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and he never lets anyone forget, or he never goes with it not being said that his teacher is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so one of the things that we are taught from that man that just illuminated so much was that, I believe the statement goes, the first law of nature is self-preservation. That is the very first law of nature. Everything is focused on self-preservation. And so once you grow in understanding, you begin to see and know that you can't preserve yourself without focusing on preserving your family. You can't preserve yourself and your family without some focus on preserving your community. And you can't do these things separate of the other. They are, they're like three prongs of a chair, of a three-pronged chair, that the three going out in different directions give you a sense of balance and comfort and a surety that you can sit down on that chair. It's a strong foundation. And when we look at things that happen to people, even if it's not our immediate family, if it's an attack, if it's a injustice, then be assured that if it happens, and it can happen to them and their family, it can happen to you and your family, or me and my family. And that's why it's so important for us to be concerned, to have care about what happens to people in our community, whether it be Chicago, LA, Houston, New York, Florida. We have to be concerned and we have to be aware of what is going on, because it is our collective survival which is at stake. So throughout the country today, well, not throughout the country, but let me start with here in Chicago first. There's an incredible case about a brother named Howard Morgan, who he was a former police officer. I believe he served in the Chicago police force. Then he went to work with the railroad police force, and was walking, going about his business, but was stopped by the police. And he let them know that he's an officer and that he had his, official job issued gun on him. And despite that, he was shot 21 times, survived, was tried and accused of trying to attack the police officers, and was found not guilty, but then was tried again. And the jury in the second trial was not allowed to know anything about there being a first trial and about the fact he was found innocent. And yeah, I know some people may be saying double jeopardy. Yeah, we got freedom of speech too, huh? So he was nominated, you know, and I say that jokingly, but this is not a joking matter at all. He was found guilty and is spending, I believe he got sentenced to 30 years or something like that. So there's a campaign brewing to help him. And now then we can go across the country. And I know people have been hearing and reading about Trayvon. Young man went out to buy some Skittles, 17-year-old, and was in what is being described by some as, you know, being hunted. There was some vigilante who called himself watching the community, and he saw the boy walking and thought he was suspicious and followed him, and just, you know, did the unthinkable. They talk about recordings where it is clear that the man was not in danger, that he pursued and followed the boy and killed him. And so they're playing up on this law in Florida that says that if you feel threatened and you're on your property or near your property or whatever, then you're not charged when you discharge your weapon. So there's a lot happening with that case. And that's in Orlando, Florida. Trayvon Martin, young man who wanted to be an aviation mechanic. And so there's a lot happening in Florida right now. And, you know, we could go on and on. There are different cases and situations today that continue to reflect the ridiculousness and the spirit that it seemed to be back in the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s as it relates to black men and authorities or vigilantes, because that's what some people call the Ku Klux Klan. They were vigilantes. They were, you know, the Klan really was the Confederate Army. Once they lost the war, they went underground and they became guerrilla terrorists, and put on masks and hoods and burned crosses and in front of our lawns and raped and pillaged and did all kind of unthinkable things under the cover of the white cover that they had on their heads. And then, of course, they took those white robes off, and some put on black robes, and others put on police uniforms. So whenever someone is shot multiple times, it really reflects something a lot more than being afraid for your life or trying to defend yourself. It reflects, a real desire to bring harm and to do something to that individual that did not warrant it. So, a lot happening in the world, a lot happening in the world today. So, one thing that I'm not advocating, I know we like to send messages, but we really have to think through things, because people are advocating sending, because the Trayvon was going to buy a bag of Skittles. So now people are sending Skittles to Florida authorities in Florida, a bag of Skittles, saying, you know, this is what he died for. But, you know, we don't want to make, I think Mars, whoever it is that makes Skittles, make them rich off of this situation. So send your messages, but don't buy Skittles. Draw pictures and get a piece of paper and draw a bunch of different colored circles on a piece of paper and send that in. Draw a bag of Skittles if you need to, but no need in spending your money on buying Skittles to send that message. So, but Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. This, brothers and sisters, story and the Howard Morgan story was in a previous issue of the Final Call, but you can get the latest issue of the Final Call newspaper, and you will see this story. It is actually the front page of the Final Call newspaper, and you will be able to read the full story and find out what happened with him, and possibly what you can do to get involved. Now, also, yeah, matter of fact, when Justice, the cover of it says "Justice for Trayvon." Demands for arrest, criticism of police grows in case of Florida teen killed by white community patrol captain. So this guy has not been arrested. He's not been charged. And he's just, going about his business at this point. And so, of course, we don't advocate anyone doing street justice. So, but we want the authorities to do what they need to do to properly handle the situation before people, do things in an inappropriate way. So, but that's the challenge when you're fighting and you're looking and you're angry and you're hurting and you're looking for justice. Then all kind of things can happen. So we want the authorities to do what they need to do so that this case and this situation does not get any more out of hand. So, yeah. So pick up the Final Call. Of course, you can call me. I am your friendly neighborhood Final Call newspaper distributor. You can always call me to get your hands on a copy of the Final Call at 773-531-8798, 773-531-8798. You can reach me through my website, BeanSoupTimes.com as well, BeanSoupTimes.com, and go there and get all types of news. I'm telling you, we have really put a lot of attention and focus on making sure that we have consistent, daily, up-to-date news and information. So there's a lot of information on there we've been posting this entire year, and we made a commitment that we're going to step up the news sharing business because there's just too much out here that we want to share with you, and it needs to be some perspectives put on a lot of these things. So check out our website, of course, as always, and get a lot of good information. Now, also, while I'm talking about the website, we really want to make sure that we share news about events that you are doing. If you're doing an event, if it's centered around community activism, if it's centered around promoting health and wellness or rallies and things of that nature, make sure you go to our event section. You just go to BeanSoupTimes.com and hit events in the banner, and you can go to our events page and just upload yourself information about your event. And so I'm telling you, that will be very helpful for all of us, because we'll help share that information. That is something that we do not charge for, so take advantage of that. And of course, this kind of goes without saying, but then again, it has to be said, just to make sure that nobody gets any misunderstandings. We're not promoting any foolishness. So it has to be centered around family-oriented events that are suitable for a whole family, or at least it's something that if my teenager who may look at the site sees it, he won't be asking me, why do I have? Or she won't be asking, why do I have this foolishness on the website? So, but keep that in mind. And we do monitor to make sure that it's a proper environment that we want. So, but put your events up there, please. Let us help you share those events. Then also, if you have news releases, send us your news release. Let us know about what's happening, and we may post it on the website to make sure that the people in our network know about it. BeanSoupTimes is a network. We network, and we want to share information across the board with people who we interact with. We want to introduce your people to my people and all of that. And that's another reason why we're so excited about this bond, this connection, this home we have here at globalnewsforum.com. It's such a wonderful place to be, a wonderful place to house the BeanSoupTimes radio show. And I'm telling you, this is a station that is really on the move, and you have some wonderful people here who are making it happen. So we're glad to be a part of it. So it is 3:21, brothers and sisters. My name is Toure Muhammad. You're listening to the Bean Soup Radio Show. The day after the lowest turnout in the electoral process in Chicago in a long time. And it also is a day of wonderful weather. And so we're just talking about a few things in the news that I'm pulling from the final newspaper and just giving a little background and update on BeanSoupTimes website and what's been happening. So, and we want to make sure that you know that website, this network is your network, that it's a place for you to send us information, share information. It's a place for you to get information. And we've, put in place some things that will allow you to do that for no money. Of course, we are a business and we have to have revenue to sustain ourselves, and it's the things that advertisers pay for that help us to open up these other opportunities to keep the website going, to have the event section and the whole social networking piece we have, where not only can you post your event, but you can post photos, you can promote your business, you can post your blog there, and and we'll do some things to help you stay connected there as well. So all these things are very critical and important, I think, to the network that we're building, the unity, the connection that we're building. And as we continue to grow and evolve, we want to make sure we keep you up to date on incredible, wonderful news and information that uplifts, motivates, and inspires, that we connect you with products and services that help solve problems in our community, that help solve problems in our personal lives, whether it deals with health, whether it deals with fashion or beauty and all of that. We want to make sure, and of course, as always, since we started some 11 years ago, our joy and our passion and what we really gravitate towards and love to do the most is to connect you with Black-owned products and services and businesses that are just phenomenal, but that are not known like they could be known. So we try to do that, and I think we do a great job of it. So if you have information about a business that needs to know us and we need to know them, so we can help them get the word out so that we can connect them with our network, definitely, email me, text me, call me, whatever it takes to give me that information so we can share it with others. And of course, you can always go to the website, BeanSoupTimes.com. You can call me at 773-531-8798, or you can email me at Toure@BeanSoupTimes.com. That's TOURE @BeanSoupTimes.com. That is TOURE@BeanSoupTimes.com. And that is what's up. So, but yeah. Oh. And as a matter of fact, we just started a new section in BeanSoupTimes, the duty and activism section. This section is designed to be that place where people can update us about any activist type thing, any outreach, any community, any nonprofit organization type thing, whether it's dealing with health, whether it's dealing with youth mentorship, whether it's dealing with education, whether it's dealing with politics, whether it's dealing with police violence, or whether it's with gang intervention, whatever it is. If it's dealing with the need for us to get informed to get involved, to be more active in the community, whether it's a call, if it's a call to duty, in a spirit of activism, we want to have a place in BeanSoupTimes on the website where you can always go to hear about what's happening and get connected. So that's another portion of the website we just launched, and God willing, that'll be a portion of our show as well. So we're looking at doing some great things coming up here in the spring, and we are glad that you're going to be a part of it. So as we continue to go forward, I want to just really encourage that feedback. I really want to encourage you to reach out to us and let us know what your thoughts are. So we're going to have a regular celebrity philanthropy report. We're going to have upcoming. I'm really going to, have our people really go after and reach out to elected officials to get them on the show so we can have a political talk corner or forum or discussion on every show. And we want to have a FCN, a Final Call newspaper update. So we're looking at having the editor of the Final Call, Brother Richard, on a regular basis, where he can give us an update of different things happening across the country and his very important and unique perspective as the editor-in-chief of the Final Call newspaper, which is really, the Final Call does not take news advertisement, and it is solely produced with the effort and the spirit and the support of the members of the Nation of Islam, and thus there's no question about the independence of that publication. And for the editor, he's in a very wonderful position to be able to report and provide news and information without any hesitation about what it means to advertisers. So definitely we want to get him on the show and have that kind of update. So if you, maybe we could do a health section, a health update. We got two incredible books from the Nation of Islam that I read and reread, and I need to read them again. Heidi to Live, book 1 and 2, from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is really an incredible base for health. That if you take the principles in there and some of the things that he says is very simple, and you have others who've gone out and done a whole lot of research that just bear witness to the simple thing that he said, and that's why I say base. He just said, look, no meat is good for you. Period. And people do all kind of. I know my producer doesn't like to hear that, but he's doing an excellent job right now. So I want to definitely encourage him. But in his effort, I won't bust him out. He's I don't know how personal his effort is that he's on right now. But no meat is good for you. And so that's something that Honorable Elijah Muhammad just said, real simple, real straight to the point, not a whole lot of going into what happens when how a cow or a goat or a chicken is actually killed, especially in this country. There are certain laws in terms of Islamic and Jewish, where there's certain laws of how an animal can be killed, which dictates whether the classifications of halal and kosher. But even without going into those two distinctions, just in general, specifically about how meat is prepared here in this country, the way that the animal is killed produces a certain type of spirit or chemical reaction, I should say, that goes into the meat and causes that, and that chemical reaction that is not good can be passed on to the person who eats it. Then you have other things that happen when you're actually eating something that has been killed, as opposed to something that is more alive, and you know that's why people get into the whole raw food spirit now, because they say even when you cook it, that you're killing the food, so it's better to eat it live. So I'm not going that far. You know, one of the staple products of the Nation of Islam, and the name of my publication, my business, is Bean Soup. So we eat a lot of bean soup, and I haven't found a way to make those beans soft without cooking them. So we're going to continue to do that, but you know, flesh that is being killed and then processed and then shipped and then cooked, there are definitely different things that happen to it, as opposed to a fruit or a vegetable that, you know, is picked and it stays live all the way through the process, at least until it gets to the plate, to the stove rather. So, but anyway, hope you're getting the point of what I'm saying, is that you can illuminate and read different books and look up the definitions of words to get deeper and deeper understanding of very simplistic things that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, to give you a full picture of the knowledge and the scope of wisdom that he displayed. Just an incredible man, left a lot of guidance and instruction. So we may have a health section. You know, we may talk about and pull out certain things from there to talk about what foods you should eat and shouldn't eat, and have an expert or two on that we can have a conversation with, to give you some that's just incredible wisdom. And believe me, brothers and sisters, yeah, it may start. It starts with pork. It starts there, but there's a lot that we have on our plate today that it really is not good for consumption. And with the environment the way it is, and all the things and the reasons why we're getting so many sicknesses and ailments and cancers at the earlier and earlier ages in life, a lot has to do with what we put into our stomach. We dig our graves with our teeth. And so let's spit that dirt back out and cover that grave up, and tell the grave it can hold on for a little while longer. So, but that's what's up. That's what's up. So it is 30 minutes past the hour, maybe a little bit past the hour, and we are going to go on a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the Bean Soup radio show after these messages.
Hey parents, pick up your kids without embarrassing them with OMGPS, a navigation system that tells you how far away you need to park when you pick them up.
Keisha at mall. Proceed to outer food court.
Thanks, OMGPS.
OMGPS is not available in stores because it doesn't exist. But that's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent, because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
There once was a boy wizard whose name was Larry Smarter.
Larry, why weren't you in Professor Dinky Doodle's mythical creature classification class?
Well, I'm taking Algebra 2 in a foreign language.
Oh, so you can talk to unicorns?
Not exactly, unless they're French.
Larry wanted to go to college, so he visited knowhowtogo.org to find the classes he really needed. Getting into college doesn't happen magically. Learn more at knowhowtogo.org.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
It's BeanSoupTimes radio show with Toure Muhammad on globalnewsforum.com.
All right. That's what's up. We are back, brothers and sisters. I want to make sure that you all know about a wonderful tool that you can use to get the message out, to get the word out about whatever it is you're doing. And I said it a little bit earlier, so it's not a surprise to those who've been listening for the first half hour, but go to my website and hit the events section. And when you have an event, when you're doing something, really, I'm telling you, make sure you send it to me, I make a newsletter that includes all of the different news and information events rather, from people really across the country who post their events. And I send them out to my entire database, 17,000 people. So you want to have your information in there so we can share it out and push it out and make sure that people know about it. And as you're listening, if you know that you can provide some good information about politics, about health, maybe you're a personal trainer, then let's have some discussions and let's, see about getting you on the show. We want to really have a nice full show. So we're going to each show and have some incredible people. So, like we always do, we tell you that all the time. We always bring some incredible, phenomenal people to the show. But we know that we have some people who are listening, who are incredible and phenomenal, that we haven't met actually directly yet. So we want to get that popping. We want to get that going. And we want you to know that we're here for you to get the message out. Now here's some news out of the final call that I thought was very interesting. And it's very brief, but I want to share it with you. Steve Harvey to host a new TV show. Steve Harvey is going to be starring in his own daily television show, and it's going to be taped in Chicago. And it's going to be called Steve Harvey, and it's going to be taped in the NBC5 studios here in Chicago. And so this is a wonderful thing. Of course, many of us know Steve Harvey from his radio show. We know some of his support of Nation of Islam related events and community related events and mentoring related events. So we're glad to have him come here to do his show. And one thing about it is that it's going to create about 100 jobs. They say about 100 new jobs will be created. So, if you have some interest, some desire, some knowledge about media, news, and TV, whatever, this is the time to polish off that resume and get it to Steve Harvey some kind of way, or whoever his leadership is going to be on the ground. I'm not sure who will it be, but we're looking forward to hearing more about the show and what it'll be offering. So, but it's important and it's great for the idea and the spirit of job creation. And so anytime, we see something like that happen, it should be something that is celebrated and acknowledged. And more of us need to figure out and do things that will cultivate the ideas and the dreams that we have. It's been a while, but I read the book about the Ray Kroc, who founded McDonald's, and the man was 55 years old when he started that franchise. Now we could get into a discussion about the health benefits and the cookie cutter theme of it, but just talking about it from a business aspect, you're never too old to have a business idea. And there's some great principles and themes that we can learn from people who are successful in business that we can use. And so one thing about it is that we can never, maybe we had to start a motivational section too, motivational corner. But this is something I really want to say to everybody who's listening. You can have an idea, and that's great. You got an idea. Hey, you get 3 claps for having an idea. One thing that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught and teaches us in our lessons is that thought travels at 24 billion miles per second. Light travels, to give you a little contrast, light travels at 186,000 miles per second. Thought travels at 24 billion miles per second. And it takes approximately 8 minutes and 20 seconds, something like that, 8 minutes and 20 seconds for the sun to leave its source. some 93 million miles away and travel throughout the triple darkness of space and reach the Earth. And of course, we know that the sun, the energy, the light that comes from the sun causes the planet to rotate at 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. Well, if that thought can travel like that, then just as quick as you had it, that thought can go, you know, all kind of places. It can go from here to the sun, here to Mars, Mercury, Venus, and back within the twinkling of an eye. So if you have an idea, that's great. But the thing is for you to cultivate that idea. The thing is for you to develop that idea and then put the steps in place that need to be in place to actually bring an idea into fruition. You see, if you want to bake a cake and you got an idea, hey, I want to bake a cake. Well, even if some people were sitting around you and heard you say that, they may or may not get excited. But if you get up and you say, let's go to the store so I can get the ingredients to bake a cake, then people start getting more excited. They may have been a little excited, even if they started off with tremendous excitement. Now that they see that it's about to happen and you're taking that first step, they get even more excited. Well, if you said you thought about the idea of wanting to bake a cake, but you weren't really sold on the idea yet, you weren't sure if you were going to do it yet, then whoever you said that to could either encourage you or discourage you. And depending upon how that conversation goes, that may be the deciding factor. But if you want to have your mind made up, and if you don't want any outside interference, to be clear that it's what you want to do, then you have to really think through and decide that you're going to bake that cake, and then even begin the planning process, so that when you say you're going to bake the cake, you've already determined when you're going to the store. You've already determined what kind of cake you're going to bake. And now people around you can only do but one thing, and that's either help or get out the way. But you already determined that you're going to bake that cake. You know, well, you know, I know that's kind of a light idea of baking a cake. So, you know, you might not put that much thought or interest into it. But if you have a business idea, you do not want to unleash your idea before you've thought it through. Because the first thing that happens is that oftentimes people around you can discourage you. And if your idea is not thought out, and if you have not already gotten some of the mental trees, the mental jungle, if you haven't already cleared some of the way so that you can see the end result and what it's going to take to do it, then you can get discouraged by people around you. And so even if it's not somebody immediately close to you, maybe if you share it with too many people, then, you know, somebody along the way discourages you from doing it. So, one, if you got an idea and it can help you and help your family and your community, go for it. And don't let anybody stop you from it. And one way you do that is to think through it first. Think through the processes and the resources that you'll need. Think what it's going to take to put those resources together in a way that will help you produce the product that you need. Again, that, like the cake analogy. You know, the first thing, of course, you do is you got to go get the ingredients. Then you have to have a place to prepare the ingredients. And before you put the ingredients in the oven, you've got to prepare them. You've got to put them together in a certain way before you can actually make the product. So there's purchasing the product, there's the preparation, and then there's the baking. Pretty much anything you do is like that. Any endeavor, any project, any anything that you need to do and want to do in life, no matter how simple it is, it's those three processes that have to take place. You got to get the material, you got to prepare the material, and then you got to make what it is that you want to make. So when you kind of think through those processes and you really, think on the idea and develop it and cultivate it, when you come out with it, it's so tight, it's so strong that people don't have anything to do but to support it because they see that you've thought it through. A lot of times we get opposition from friends and family because we just blurt out every idea that come to mind. And they say, oh, here you go again. Here she go again. Another idea. But where is the follow through? Where is the development of the idea? I've been studying something in the past, past month or two that has really been profound. Really, yeah, it's been a little bit longer than that. Because I've heard it in different ways from a couple of different sources. But the bottom line is that everything in creation goes through three stages. It starts, it exists, and then it stops. It starts, it goes, and then it stops. We're born, we live, and we die. Something is created, it's used, and then it's destroyed. Those three stages of existence. I think about anything that doesn't go through that. And I can't think of anything that does not have a starting point, an existing point, and then an end point. Even something as old and as ancient as the sun. Even the sun has a period of time on it. It started. It's going to burn for a long time. It has been burning for a long time, and then it will stop burning. Everything goes through this process. So some things, of course, exist for a long, long, long time. Other things, like flies and gnats and certain insects and animals, may only have a 30-day period, or shorter than that, or a little bit longer than that. But everything goes through those three stages. So the same thing is with an idea, a business that you want to launch, that you want to create, and sometimes we can see the end result. Not the end result. That's an ending. But we can see it functioning. We can see it moving. We can see it existing. But we don't know how to get it started. Or we know how to get it started. And some people are real good at starting a business. I don't even know how I got on this subject. But they start a business, and you look up and they started another business. And you look up again and they started another business. And, they never seem to have one business or one thing that they stick with. So sometimes, you kind of go through that in order to find a thing that really, really works for you. But then you have some people who are just, they know how to start. They know how to get something started, but don't know how to keep it going. So that's what life is about, kind of learning the different processes and the things that it takes to actually create and develop something so it can be sustainable. And that ending point, if it starts right and it exists right, and that ending point could be 200-300 years down the line. It could be 1,000 years down the line, if it starts right and it exists right. Of course, we know we have businesses that have been around, some more than 100 years in this country, and in other countries you have, back in the day, way back in the day, you have civilizations, countries, 100 years, 200 years, 500 years, periods of time, 1,000-year reign. So these things can happen if things are established in the proper way and they are made to exist in the proper way. So that's what's up. So that's the motivational. Maybe we'll start motivational. I need to get some feedback, some ideas and thoughts from our listeners, because this is the community show. This show is for you and about you. You know, I really enjoy bringing on local people and regular folks who are doing incredible things from Chicago and throughout the country. And when I say local, I don't mean just local Chicago, but I mean just local. Wherever you are, you are local. You are local to wherever you are. So, yeah, maybe we'll do that. We'll have a political section. We'll have a final call update section. We'll have a celebrity section and a motivational, inspirational section. And, you know, I really would like to combine that in a way that's real effective. Because personally, I'm not necessarily the one that, you know, looks for the inspiration necessarily. You know, the need to be inspired to do something. And, you know, I think that I'm pretty self-inspired because I reflect on the things that need to be done. So we probably won't focus a lot on that, but it'll be a little bit of inspiration, because really in many ways the inspiration is the why. It's the why something needs to be done. It's the why that will help motivate a person. I mean, will inspire a person. And motivation is a little bit different. It's more of a, you know, get you moving. It's almost like the call. It's the call to action. It's the thing that needs to be done. So, you know, somebody asked me why I started BeanSoupTimes. That's my inspiration. You know, really, because I want to help establish schools and hospitals and buy farmland and enter the international trade and commerce to really establish our community as the viable, strong, independent community that it needs to be in order to survive. Because it's so important for us not to, you know, have to be existing based upon the whim, the desire, the will of somebody else. You know, we got to determine for ourselves freedom, justice, and equality. We have to be self-determined. And so the reality is that when you have people who don't want you to be self-determined, then now that sets up opposition. That sets up two opposing purposes. And so they can coexist, but it has to be a clear declaration from the one that is being suppressed or oppressed, that they're not going to exist like that. They're going to be free, proud, and productive. And, you know, it's like pushing somebody back or boxing them out in basketball. Hey, you know, I got this spot, and you're just not going to have it. You're just not going to get it. I remember a friend of mine back in the grammar school. I still remember it. My man, Corey Smith, he had some very good ball handling skills. And I would just marvel at his skill with the ball and his determination. He was determined that he was going to go to the hole. He didn't care how big the big men were on the opposing team. And he would say it with conviction. I'm going to the hole. I'm getting to the basket. And he would get to the basket, you know, at will most times. So that's what we have to be. We have to be determined. We have to be focused. And we have to be real clear on what our goal is, and that nothing will stop us from getting that goal. And when we do that, we'll see businesses popping up all over the city, owned by people who look like us, and we'll see tremendous, wonderful quality service coming from those businesses. It just takes a well-made-up mind and a predetermined idea, and then from there, it's just putting in the steps in the process that will make that happen, and walking that thing back from beginning to end. Here's the goal, here's how we're going to get there, and then here are the steps that it's going to take for us to get there, and here's how we can do it together. See, that's what we need. love and unity and a plan for building the type of community and environment that we want. See, man, you know what? I get going. See, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, was it last year, 2 years ago? The theme, 2 years ago, the theme of Savior's Day. It's our annual convention we have every year, where people come from all over the country, really the world, to our annual convention where we celebrate the patriarch of the Nation of Islam, the teacher of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We call him Master Farah Muhammad. When the minister set the theme, it was accept responsibility for building our communities. And you see, that's so important and powerful right there, because because we have not accepted responsibility, then that's why the community is in the state that it's in. You know, we have to be able to face our challenges head on and figure out how we're going to deal with it. We can't ignore it. We can't sweep it under the rug. We can't stick our head in the ground like an ostrich and not look at the problems and deal with them directly. And so that does not mean that it always has to be done with force, but it has to be done with clear thought and plan and direction, so that you can go after that problem, facing it squarely on and deal with it. So when the minister told us to accept responsibility for building our communities, he was telling us to face our problems, face the challenges of our community head on, and don't try to ignore it or place the blame on somebody else. You know, we can't look at government to solve the problem by itself. We can't look at parents to solve the problem by itself, or teachers to solve the problem by itself, or police to solve the problem by itself. It's going to take individuals in the community who may not have a label, who may not even have a title, whether you have children or not. See, and I said parents because the people who don't have children say, well, it's the parents' fault. And the teacher say, yeah, it's the parents' fault. And the parents say it's the teacher's fault. And the police say it's the community's fault. And, you know, it's always passing the buck. But as men and women, if we are adults, then we need to accept that responsibility and look, like Michael Jackson said, at the man in the mirror and decide what we can do to solve the problem, what we personally can do to alleviate the pain in our community, so that we don't just react to a situation like Trayvon or Howard Morgan. When we are not self-determined and accepting responsibility, then we're forced to react to things that happen and respond to things that happen. And it doesn't have to be that way. We can take a proactive and aggressive approach to solving the problems in our community, really by just facing them. By facing them head on, accepting the responsibility, and then, you know, things will open up for us just from that acceptance, just from us taking on that idea that we are going to do something about it. Then all these things start happening. You know, I remember reading in the study guides written by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He said that when you desire a thing of good, then God arranges the sources, the resources, the angels, and the people to help bring about your desire. So with God on our side, who can be against us? There's no power, no forces, no combination of powers and forces that can stop us when we have the blessing of God on our side. So, brothers and sisters, man, it's been definitely, truly a pleasure just having, you know, this was just almost like You know, what did Franklin Delano Roosevelt start? The fireside chat by the radio. It was like a fireside chat where we just wanted to talk about a few things this week and kind of set a tone and a stage to give you an idea of what some of our plans and goals are for upcoming shows. And so we want to just have, you know, a variety of stuff. So we want to have the different segments. We want to, you know, we're going to have some humor in it. You know, if I'm involved, I like to, you know, for us to laugh. Laughter makes the medicine go down better. And, you know, humor helps to us to see things sometimes in a different way when you use satire and irony and all of that. So, but, you know, you've been listening to the Bean Soup Radio Show. We're going to be closing out in just a few seconds. And as always, of course, I'm your host, Toure Muhammad. And never forget that as long as I have a bowl of bean soup, you've got half.